Right, welcome back guys, we're on to video 2. In between finishing the first video and starting the second video, I realised I made a mistake. So we need to go and correct that. So, it's very simple. All I want you to do, on the left hand side here, I want you to right click on the mouse button and I want you to delete that extrude. That's it. So, I think I mentioned before that on the this is my base, this is the piece of pine wood that's going to sit on top of the desk where my my lamp is going to come up from the base. Now on the underside of that, and the way I get to the underside is I right click, hold down the right button on the mouse and just move my mouse so I can have a look around the bottom. Now I said before, what I've done with these holes, these are on my prototype. I drilled 2 pilot holes, through holes all the way through the material, but what I have done is I've countersunk those holes so that when the screws go through, the screw heads fit flush, actually slightly below the material. So when this sits on the table, it doesn't rock because the screw heads are sticking out. So we need to create that feature on our virtual model. Way we do that is we can use the hole tool, which I can't remember if we have used up to this point, but if we have, great, it's just a refresher. If we haven't, then there's another tool that we know how to use. So let's get straight into it then. So I've sketched my 2 circles. I'm not going to extrude them. I'm literally going to keep them as circle sketches. Up my toolbar here, I've got this little icon here that says hole, so I'm going to click on that. Now I want you to have a look at this, because it tells us some information about what we're doing. So make sure we're using metric, so we're working in millimeters. We want to countersink, and this is the information about our countersink what we need to pay attention to. So this one is telling me how wide do you want the diameter of the top of the hole to be. Now I'm going to set mine to 8 millimeters. Don't worry about the degrees, the angle. I don't know what they are on the screws we're going to use, so we'll leave it 82. And you can leave that to 26 millimeters because it's a through hole anyway. And we're going to green tick that. Didn't work. Why has that not worked? Oh, sorry, I didn't actually select the circles. So select circle, select circle. There you go. So now you can see this is the bottom side of the plate. We've countersunk the hole so that that screw head's going to fit in and run flush with the face of the material. If we go back and look at the top, those holes, the diameter of those holes haven't changed. So we're just focusing on the bottom side where those holes are, where the screw heads are going to sit against that pine wood. Easy. Job done. That's the 2 holes countersunk. So next we're going to create a new part studio. Right click to rename, and I'm going to call this the anchor. So we're going to sketch this. This is really straightforward. This is only a rectangle piece of pine wood, and so it shouldn't take us very long, but there is a hole in it that we need to put through so that our arms can attach to either side. So I'm just looking at my prototype here. It's 70 millimeters long and it is 40 millimeters high. So I'm going to use what plane should I sketch this? Let's use the right plane. So I'm going to hide the top and I'm going to orientate myself, so I'm looking at from the right hand side, sketch, click on the right plane, top toolbar, center point rectangle. Don't fall into the trap of trying to click on those white boxes. They are white, which means they're ready for you to insert the dimensions. So this one's going to be 70, I think I said. Enter. And don't click again. The box has gone white, so it wants the dimension 40. I'm going to use the my dimensions tool to move my dimensions off my sketch, keeping the dimensions in the centre. Nice and clean, neat and tidy. Green tick. Right, there's my sketch. Let's change it into, let's create a 3D object out of it. So right click on that sketch. Let's choose extrude. I'm just going to move my angle so you can see exactly what's happening. That's going to be 12mm because we're using 12mm thick pine. Green tick that one. And I want to drill a hole, or I want to create a hole that's going to go through it. It's going to be 8mm hole, and I want to drill it straight through the centre. So let's go to sketch on the face of our component here. Click on the face, set a point circle, try and use the, I'm going to change my orientation so I'm looking straight on, easier for me to do. Snap it to the origin, and I'm going to type in 8 and press enter. Green tick, and I'm going to right click inside that circle, extrude, make sure I click remove, and then final thing is for me to render that to make it look like it's a wood material. There we go. Now on my virtual model, so on my actual prototype, I did drill 2 pilot holes in here that were same distance apart from the base, which I can't remember what you set it to now. It was 40mm. So I'm going to put 2 holes in here from the centre, 40mm apart. Sketch on that face, centre point circle. That was 4mm, sorry, not 40. And the second one, 40mm. No, not 40, sir. 4. And the distance between the 2 of them is 40. Dimensions tool, from the centre of one, centre of the second one, take dimensions off the drawing, 40, enter, green tick. These were blind holes. They didn't go all the way through because the screw, when it comes up through the base and bites into this anchor component, it only goes approximately a third of the way up through the material. So we want to create a 2 blind holes here. So we're going to extrude. Let's right click on the circle. It's not letting me do it that way, so let's go back to the way done before. Circle 1, circle 2, remove. Now I want to set this to 10mm. They're really too small. Blind pilot hole, so click there. There we go. So those holes don't go all the way through the material, they are blind holes. Let's go back to my isometric view. I can hide the right plane now, I can hide the origin. There we go. That's that piece done. So the next part is to create the arms. So I'm going to insert a new part studio. Now the arms on mine are all identical. So while I've got on this little prototype, while I've got 1, 2, 3 arms, They're all exactly the same. So I'm not going to create 3 separate parts for each arm. I'm just going to create one arm, and when I assemble it, I'm going to insert it 3 times. Right, let's rename that. By right-clicking my mouse on that part of the tab there. Rename arm. And I'm going to sketch this in the right plane again. So I'm going to hide the top, hide the fronts, and I'm going to orient myself round to the right. Now this arm, on my prototype, it's actually a little bit smaller than I want it to be. But that's okay, that's why we create prototypes. It kind of helps us understand whether the product is how we want it to be, does it work, what we need to change. So I set these originally and they were 150 millimeters. I'm going to change that so it's a bit bigger. I'm going to make it 200 millimeters. So it's a very simple shape. So I'm sketching the right plane. Here we go. Sketch. Click on the right plane. Set the point rectangle. Off we go. So I set it to be 200 millimeters. And what was the height? Did I set it to 20? Let's move this out of the way. It's a white box, which means it's ready for me to insert a dimension. I don't need to click on it. If I click on it, it'll think I want to sketch another center point rectangle, and you start clicking and clicking and clicking, you get lots of center point rectangles. Click on my dimensions tool so I can move the dimensions around. Lovely. Green tick. I want to make my sketch into a 3D object, so I'm going to right click on it and I'm going to extrude. If you remember, we're using 12mm thick pine. Green tick. Okay. And I want to change it to appear like it's wood, so I'm going to render it in like a brown colour. Now again, these arms have got 2 holes drilled into them at either end. They are through holes, so we need to sketch these and extrude remove. So let's do that now. So sketch, I want to choose the face of the component I want to sketch on. Sketch this on the surface. Choose my center point circle. I want to line it up with the center. It goes to orange box. I'll try and zoom in so you can see orange box, and I'm going to click. Now these holes were, again, they were, I believe they were 8 millimeters, and I'm going to come down here and do the same this end. Click. 8 millimeters. Now they are actually a certain distance in from the edge. I'm just going to use my ruler here to measure it. It was 20 millimeters, so I want the center of this hole. Oh, sir, you need to click on your dimensions tool. Center of the hole, and I've clicked on the edge there, and I want that to be 20, and I'm going to repeat that on this side. So click on the center of the circle I've sketched and the left hand side of that component, and take my dimension off the sketch, 20, enter, green tick. And now it's just a case they are through holes, so it's extrude remove. So up the top, use my extrude tool, click inside the circle, and I want to click remove. There we go. I'm going to stop there. Hopefully that makes sense to you. Say if you have any problems, and just pause the video, go back, watch it 2, 3, 4 times, try and work it out yourself. The more you use Onshape, the better you'll get it, and the more you kind of understand it. So good luck, guys, and I will do another video for the next part.